This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. Fan.
Jonny Athletic will file a live report from Target Center in about, 40 minutes or so. Wolves taking on the Denver Nuggets tonight. Game that you can hear on the Timberwolves channel. Will that game be on the Fan as well tonight?
It will be.
Wolves Nuggets.
It will be.
Good showdown.
Wednesdays will be as well.
Outstanding. Ben Leber is with us via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. And as we say hi to Ben, I'm assuming, it brought to you by Sierra Nevada, that you're well aware of the update on Carson Wentz. He will undergo surgery to replace a torn labrum. Alec Lewis, Leber, reminds us that injury happened in London against the Browns. He'd already been dealing with bruised ribs from the game in Dublin. Surgery was always going to be a necessity, and now apparently it's become necessary immediately. So what do we say? So obviously his season is over. Maybe his time with the Vikings is over. Maybe his career is over. Who knows? What do we say to what's the final verdict on Carson Wentz coming in here to try to come to the rescue?
Well, I don't know. I guess final verdict is it's tough because he was put in a hard spot.
Yep.
You know, like he didn't have much time to learn the playbook, learn the system, and be around the guys. And you know, we've talked about it a lot of times where these quarterbacks are hanging out with the receivers, having dinner with them. They're going out and throwing extra routes in the off season. You know, they talk about that chemistry. Well, he didn't have any time to develop that, and so he was doing the best he can, kind of drinking out of the fire hose, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to deal with a patchwork offensive line where you probably didn't know from series to series who was going to be playing and protecting in front of them. So, I mean, I would say, obviously record-wise and statistics-wise, it wasn't great, but I got a lot of respect for the guy to come in and do what he did and lay his body on the line. And the reason why he tore up his shoulder is because he's a competitor.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't get blindsided and, it just happened that it was a fluky play. No, he's dropping his shoulder. He's trying to run guys over when he's picking up yardage, and especially on third down. So, a lot of respect for what he tried to come in here and do, what he did come in here and do. And so, hope nothing but the best for him. And like you said, I don't know where is this just another chapter in his career, mm-hmm. or is this the end of the book? I don't know.
We haven't talked since the game, I don't think. I'm in the camp that is stunned that he remained in the game. I don't understand it. I'm not suggesting you make a change to think you can win the game or even to punish Wentz for not playing particularly well. I just thought it was the right mercy move. The game was pretty much over. To me, you bring in whoever your backup is, in this case, obviously, Brosmer, and you have him hand the ball off, and you throw maybe a few short passes, and you get out of Dodge. I was stunned that he was kept in as long as he was. Were you surprised at all?
I was a little bit, but, in hindsight, I probably wasn't thinking about it clearly at the time. I was just thinking, same thing as you. When I see the pain that he's in, uncharacteristically throwing his helmet, wincing multiple times, it's like, man, this guy is really battling through this. And the game was kind of getting out of hand. It's just like, okay, mercy rule, get this guy out of here. But then what happens is, what if Brosmer goes in there and gets hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you've got two hurt quarterbacks, and then you I don't know if you have to go to your emergency third quarterback, which obviously is our banged up, hopefully franchise quarterback. And all of a sudden he's in the game when he's not expected to get in the game, and you want to prevent any sort of extra injury to his ankle. So I don't know. I suppose that in hindsight, it's like, no, we can't afford to have two guys get hurt and rely on our emergency quarterback. And if Carson's able to go out there and if it's just a pain tolerance thing where, okay, give him a few moments. The pain goes away. You can go out there and compete again.
Right.
I mean, kind of take the same approach of, all right, let's just hand the ball off a few times, maybe throw some short passes and get him out there. And I think that was the right call.
A couple people have texted that they'd heard that you had some hope that, the Vikings might, because the trade deadline, I think, is next week, might try to make some overtures, again, to back up for experience, to add Russell Wilson to the quarterback room. Can you confirm or deny that?
I've never said that.
I feel like Leber needed that laugh.
Yes, he did. Yeah. I didn't think so.
I mean, obviously, great troll job by you or Guardsy or somebody, quote unquote, texting in. But no, I mean, look, if they're looking to get a veteran in, I guess I wouldn't be mad at them for getting a veteran in. But he's not my guy.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so. I didn't think that was my recollection. By the way, we haven't talked about this on air, Guardsy and I. And maybe it's settling down now, but you saw the verbal brawl that broke out between Russell Wilson and Guardsy's favorite coach, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, formerly a bounty guy from New Orleans.
You're going to make me say his name?
You go ahead, say his name.
Payton.
Sean Payton. What did you make of that? I mean, that got unusually frontal and vicious, didn't it?
Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, Sean, after the fact, after Russell sort of clapped back at, he tried to take the high road of like, well, that's not what I meant. Like, well, then what did you mean?
What did you mean?
Because it did seem like you were taking another jab at a guy that clearly was not your guy in Denver. So he can try as he might to kind of backpedal from this thing. But listen, Sean, you started it, Don't start the fire then just walk away.
Yeah.
I do believe, I hate to be on Russell's side with this one, but I'm on Russell's side with this.
Yeah. Russell went with the counter that he needed to. He needed to get dirty once the door was open, right? And the bounty part was that's the best. That is still to this day his greatest vulnerability right there. So I said, you got if you're going to make me play dirty, I'll play dirty.
Well, you want to talk about a feud, an ongoing feud right now that is reaching maybe criminal behavior. Have you paid attention to Ryan Leaf and Dr. Chow?
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. Yes, this has gotten very juicy, has it not?
Oh, boy.
Well, can you summarize it for our listeners who have not been paying attention to the back and forth there?
Sure. So Dr. David Chow, he's now kind of rebranded himself as well. Not only still being a practicing orthopedic surgeon in San Diego, but he's like the pro football doc on social media. And he just gives his 2 cents on all sorts of sports injuries that happen in real time. Whether it's Cam Scattaboo or maybe even basketball season now is underway. He'll comment on some injuries and just what it looks like, what it could be, what the timeline is, and all that stuff, right? So Chow posted a video about our guy, J.J. McCarthy, and it was the second one, I believe the second one that he commented on, saying like, hey, this to me feels like a soft benching. I think they're hiding behind this ankle injury. I think that they don't think that he's ready, and they're trying to buy as much time as they can because they're not happy with his performance on the field. That sort of rhetoric. And out of nowhere, Ryan Leaf, who obviously was a draft pick bust by the San Diego Chargers and knows Dr. Chow, comes after him, not anything related to J.J. McCarthy, and just saying like, hey, you're the one that's responsible for Junior Seau's death.
Yeah, it was
you were the one prescribing him all these meds and all this other stuff. And it just became like, whoa, dude, you like went a full 180 and you're going hard at this guy for something that's unrelated to anything about pain pills or anything. Let's talk about J.J. McCarthy and like what he thought the Vikings were doing. And they didn't stop there. Chow sent out a video. He made a video basically just kind of taking a high road and saying like, hey, this is ridiculous. I was cleared of any wrongdoing and whatever. And then Ryan Leaf basically said, I'm going to make it my life's mission to respond in this way to every post that you put out there because I want to expose you. And it's like, holy cow, dude. Like, That's why I'm like, the things that he's saying, if it's not accurate,
yeah, it's dangerous stuff. Yeah,
seems like to me it's like slanderous stuff that you can be taken to court for.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's we had, I don't know how many years ago it was, somewhere along the way I think we had Ryan Leaf on when he was kind of on his redemption tour, and he was talking about
having a sober Super Bowl party.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's exactly it. Good memory. And he was excellent to talk to because he seemed at that point. He was owning a lot of the stuff from his own life. So I kind of lost track of him. I did not know he'd gotten to this level. I will tell you that one of the more embarrassing predictions I ever made, and I made a bunch over the decades, was the year he came out with Manning. This was Chad and Barrero days, I'm pretty sure. I said, watch and see, Ryan Leaf will be a better pro quarterback than Peyton Manning. I'm on record. I actually said it. How'd that turn out?
Wow, hot takes.
That's about as hot as you get. Well, it was about, you know what I did? I got seduced by the gamer thing. Leaf's got that. He's edgy. He's got that extra something. The other guy might be a more talented passer, but Leaf's got that. There's just something about him. I fell hook, line, and sinker for that thinking. I wasn't alone at the time, but man, that's one of those I'd rather forget. But you have to own up to all of your mistakes, right?
No, I'm with you. I mean, the thing is, that's why. I mean, I'm glad that you're just having fun with this, but it's hard to evaluate quarterbacks because I do think that the gamer mentality, grit, moxie, all that stuff, that is a factor in some of these things. Look at some of the recent criticisms. Like, I was always a fan of Baker Mayfield. Now, I would put him probably in the same take that you had with Ryan Leaf. Like, I just love his fire, his passion. He is a gamer. It doesn't always look great. It's kind of unorthodox. Yes, he's shorter than your average quarterback, but I like him. To me, he seems like a winner. You could say the same thing for Ryan Leaf. In a more recent situation, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was criticized when he was coming out of college because they said he didn't have leadership qualities.
That's true.
He's too quiet. He doesn't say the things that he needs to be said. He doesn't exude a confidence. He's not. Do you really picture this tall, prototypical guy with the big arm athleticism? Do you see this guy as actually being your franchise quarterback? And a lot of teams said, no, we don't.
Right. You're right.
And I'm like, well, look at him now. The guy's a stud, and he made us look foolish on Thursday night.
Well, yeah, we don't need to spend a lot of time on the game because we're well past that, and it is, after all, Lions week. But what for you, I mean, I just viewed it as kind of that old Pollad quote, a total system failure in that game where there wasn't any one thing. It was everything that seemingly got exposed. So what was your biggest surprise from the Chargers game Thursday night? What jolted you the most?
Going back to what we always talk about, fundamental football, we didn't run the ball well. I think we only had 11 carries, but so there's that. And I know that the game sort of got out of hand, but lack of success running the football against a defense that wasn't good at stopping the run. I believe, in fact, can remember the stat was something like they were 28th in the league in yards per carry allowed as a defense. It's something like 5.3 yards a carry or something like that. So everybody else could run the football on him. We have both of our healthy running backs are back in the backfield. Why can't we run the football? And then the same thing on the other side, getting absolutely owned and dominated on the line of scrimmage in the run game, and then not being able to affect Justin Herbert when he's throwing without some sort of pressure drawn up. They had a banged-up offensive line. I get that Joe Alt was back, but they had a banged-up offensive line. They were dealing with a lot of the same things that we were dealing with. And you're telling me that our guys on paper in a four-man rush can't create more pressure and more chaos? I was really shocked by both of those things.
No question. So we know the McCarthy era is starting. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to be healthy enough to play against Detroit. So how do you restart this thing? It really, like you say, the worst time. I mean, everything went wrong in that game at the line of scrimmage, right? And you got to get healthy and figure it out on the fly with the kid quarterback in Detroit against one of the better teams in the National Football Conference. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But you know what? If we want to see what this kid has, then he has to play. He's going to play in games like this. Just like, man, it's a lot for him to make his very first start in the NFL, in his hometown on a Monday night against Chicago with, the former first-round draft pick as well at quarterback and their new fancy head coach. Like, yeah, it's tough, but it's the honeymoon period is over.
Mm-hmm.
You can't rely on, the what ifs and, this is what we think he is. Like, eventually you just got to put your big boy pants on and go play professional football. And by doing that, you're going to be put in tough environments and tough situations, and you just got to deal with it. And this is, as a fan base, this is what we want. We want to see this ultra competitor that we have seen through college and what we hear about in practice. We want to see him do this in Detroit against the Ravens the next week, going to Seattle, going to Green Bay. Like, we want to see all those moments. It seems like it's kind of unfair, and it's like, okay, who do we have that's healthy up front to protect him? Be that as it may, this is a situation that he's got to deal with, and I'm actually really excited to watch him go out there on Sunday.
Is the division... Green Bay wins last night. I think they've got one loss. We've got 4 right now, right? And we're going to Detroit. So I don't even know who Green Bay's playing next. Is the division itself slipping away, do you think? Especially when you lay out the schedule here. This is starting to get pretty serious. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get in elsewhere through the playoffs, but you sort of got to get it restarted pretty quick, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. Am I going to count this team out? No, not yet. But let's deal with reality here. The likelihood of, if everything is equal, like we're performing at the same level as the Packers. Doesn't seem that we're playing at the same level as the Lions. We'll figure that out on Sunday. We have a pretty tough schedule still. And like I said, we have to go out to Seattle, and we still have the Ravens, and we got the Giants. We have to go down to Dallas and play. Right now, I think they're still the number 1 offense in the league, even though they didn't play like it yesterday. There's a lot of things stacked up against us. Like, is it over? No, but it's not looking good. And we got to turn this thing around, not in a couple weeks. Like, we have to turn it around and look like a much more competitive team, and that starts in 6 days.
So what, from your perspective, what's the inside word? What are you hearing regarding Jonathan Allen and Hargrave, right? Because this is not, to this point, I don't believe, we're not getting out of them anywhere near what, we thought they represented with those splashy moves, or what felt like splashy moves. Did we expect too much? Did the Vikings expect too much? Is there still time to turn that around? What do you think?
Well, this is just a disclaimer for everybody listening. I literally get no information from anybody with the Vikings. A lot of my quote unquote takes are just like my own opinions.
Okay.
Like, I haven't talked to anybody internally about how anybody's playing and any of that stuff. So I honestly don't know how they feel about them, but I'll tell you how I feel about them. Like, I think Jonathan Allen he's not getting enough credit for his run game defense. I think that he's very active in the run game. I think he does a lot of things that don't show up in the stat books. I think that he's playing as active as he can. He is being more disruptive than you think. Do I think that he needs to be more of a presence in the pass game? 100%. I think that he's got to win some more one-on-one battles and be able to get more vertical and affect the passer. And I think Hargrave, quite honestly, has been non-existent in the run game.
Yeah.
I actually think he's been a liability in the run game. 2 games ago, I thought he had a really bad first 2 series that he was in there in the run game, getting pushed back and, oftentimes getting in the lap of the linebackers, not playing double teams very well, just seemed like really out of sorts. And then, because our defense has not been able to play with a lead, which will be fascinating to see if that happens this weekend, but we haven't seen his best. I mean, his best to me is a pass down penetrator from the inside. And because we haven't been in those situations where we can really put all of our weight on our toes and get vertical in the pass game, we haven't seen maybe the best of him. So unfortunately, Hargrave to me has not been playing well and really has severely underperformed.
How much, staying with the defense for a second, how often are we going with the 3 safety look?
There are times where we do it. I mean, we do it a lot.
Is it too much? Is what I'm asking. Is there too much of that?
Well, I don't think we do it too much. I mean, if we think that Metellus is like an in the box linebacker,
right,
well, then it's not really 3 safeties. You know, we're getting Eric Wilson out as an outside edge rusher these days. I mean, that's kind of a new change the last couple of games. You're getting Metellus to kind of line up all over the place, and Theo's been sort of a deep center fielder at times as well. And you know, when Harrison's been in there, he's Harrison. He kind of lines up at the line of scrimmage and does his thing. I think, we're 7 games into the season, and it does seem like, and part of it is injury, not having Van Ginkel out there and other things, that it does seem like they're still maybe in experimental mode with some of their personnel groups. And I think they'd probably wish to be more solidified on who their personnel groups are at this point in the season.
Is Okudah at this point just been exposed that he is not what we'd hoped he was going to be when we thought we were reclaiming him in training camp?
I don't necessarily think so. I mean, he gave up that touchdown. I get that. But they tried him on the same play, the play before, but with Allen, a bigger bodied receiver. And then they put Ladd McConkey out there and they match him up. That's a speed slot receiver that they're like, all right, well, if we can't get by him with the bigger guy, let's put a smaller guy on him. And yeah, he didn't do a very good job of getting his hands on him at the line of scrimmage, and he got that immediate separation. But I don't think that he's played awful. He gave up a play. All right. That's going to happen. I'm definitely more concerned with his concussion issues. And he left the game with getting evaluated. I don't know where he's at right now in that protocol, but playing a physical brand of football that he plays, when you've got to take care of your head throughout the rest of the season, I think it's going to really affect whether or not he's going to stick his nose in there and get dirty.
I think the trade deadline is next. I say it's a week from tomorrow, I believe. I know it's next week. So are we sniffing, or would you like to see us? Is there anything to, trade deadline in baseball, there's always talk about, hey, let's help, if you need a little help here, a little help there. Trades are often made. Well, the Twins don't, but, good baseball teams do, or teams that think they're in the mix. And I keep hearing these predictions that this is going to be an unusually active trade deadline in the NFL. So you think the Vikings are going to get on that? Is there any place where you think realistically you could add an interesting piece, or is that too much to even hope for regarding who might be available?
I don't know. Again, let's deal with reality right now. Like, should we be buyers or sellers? And I think, we're probably more in sell mode than we are buy mode. So I think if there's something to be done, I could actually think if I'm a betting man on this, I'd say that we're sellers more than buyers.
Ooh. And,
I saw all the same stuff on social media like everybody else with Hawkinson being, connected to some sort of trade. I mean, look, it makes sense. I'm like, all right, if they decide to do it, I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to get for compensation? I believe that we are 36 million over the cap next year. I know that his contract plays a big part in that. I don't think it's going to be hard for the team to get under the cap, but if they can make an in-season move as opposed to an off-season move, and they can just kind of take care of that one contract right now, plus get compensation draft-wise, I don't see why they don't explore that. So,
interesting.
I definitely think that if anything happens, we'll probably be sellers as opposed to buyers.
Buyers. As in the concession that we're really not, in it this year, or more, well, no, this is a particular move that we're not as high on as we once were, plus we are in a financial situation where if we can get ahead of it and get something back, we'll do it, and not necessarily kill our chances to get back into the playoff chase.
I think it's all of it. I think you got to put it all in the pot and figure out what you're cooking with. And right. As of right now, what do you realistically expect with our schedule going forward in a quarterback that's played 8 quarters? I mean, I don't think that we can have delusions of grandeur here. We have to be realistic about what we're facing. And do you have crazier things happen? Absolutely. But given all the injury stuff that we have going on, given the fact that we have a quarterback that we still don't know what we have out of him. We got a defense that right now that can't figure it out, and we're giving up a ton of points and a ton of yards, especially late. All of that factors in. And yes, you hear, Kwesi talk about a 2-year plan all the time. Like every year, every time they make a decision in the off season or whatnot, they're like, listen, we have a 2-year plan. We're always kind of readjusting our 2-year plan. And if you are looking out ahead of time into 2026 and beyond, well, I think the financial part of it is definitely a piece of the puzzle.
Do you have a hop splash player of the game for the Packers-Steelers game?
Yeah, it's not going to be very surprising. I mean, shoot, I freaking sat down and created a video about the guy the other day. I mean, Jalen Redmond is my hop splash player of the game. He's been my player of the game several times now. Right. I feel like it's either between he and Grenard or maybe an offensive lineman. But, the guy is having a special year, and I want everybody to appreciate how well he's playing. Given his story, given where he's come from, given where he's got to battle through depth chart stuff and labels and all this other stuff, he's our best interior defensive lineman, hands down. Yeah. He's good against the run. He's twitchy. He has great fundamental handwork. He's very quick to disengage. He can play with separation, even though he doesn't look like a very tall guy. Especially in this game against the Chargers. I mean, there's so many times where he would hit and create separation with his arm length, diagnose where the ball carrier is, and get off and go try to make a play. I just think that everything that he's doing is fantastic. And, he's still developing. He's still getting better. So the sky's the limit for this guy.
Thank you, Ben Leber. Good luck in the Motor City. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Appreciate you.
I'll talk to you next Monday.
It's a deal. Nacho Leber helping us out as only he can do. By the way, Larry Mondello guy has checked in.
Is that right?
Leber said he doesn't get info from anyone with the Vikings. He comes up with his takes on his own, but I've been listening to the fan a long time, and I believe he's stealing his takes from Mark Rosen. From Mark Rosen, you say.
Give away some money for a final time tonight. The Fan and 2 men and a junk truck. Want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest, and the final keyword is bills. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword bills.
You see who the Packers play next week? They're hosting Carolina.
Yeah. Goodell's
They're going to be 6-1-1.
Yeah,
it's over for the division.
It is.
Well, maybe Lieber's right. Maybe we're going to be sellers. I can finesse my way, or I can lie to myself enough into thinking that even if I traded Hawkinson, I don't want to give up on this season. It doesn't feel like he's a very big factor in what we're doing right now, does it?
Not really. No.
For the money. And again, is it a dangerous time to make that evaluation? Because can you argue that because of the unsettled nature of the quarterback position, it's more about that than it is that Hawkinson doesn't quite have as much left in him as you might think. So I don't know. That is an interesting name that's come up. By the way, there was you did an excellent job on Talking Points Friday, and I did not get. I got to all but one of them. This is one that we called the highly touted young defensive star who apparently isn't.
Herbert goes under center. Vidal's the tailback. 3 receiving options right. Herbert's looking to pass. Throws over the middle. McConkey is uncovered. He caught it at about the 20-yard line. Flag on the play. Ladd McConkey is able to roll ahead to the 17. Unofficially a gain of 15 yards. Pending penalty, and we'll see what Clete Blakeman has to say.
Yeah, see, they're going to be holding or roughing the passer. One of the two. Let's see.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 19. Is half the distance to the goal line from the end of the catch. First down, Los Angeles.
It's not number 15, actually.
Turner.
That was just stupid because Turner kind of launched himself. He left his feet instead of running through and trying to get a hit on him. Yeah. He launches himself with helmet first, and then hits Justin Herbert right in the face mask. So that was kind of a no-brainer on the officials' part. Holy cow!
Perfectly described by Peter Bursich. I wanted him kicked out of the game. I mean, I'm told that there is that discretion. I don't know how often it happens. That was about, again, there's plenty of cheap shots in this league. I get that. But that to me was about as cheap as you get. And stupid, as Bursic said. The old run through and play. But what exactly? It looks like a play where you're just simply trying to injure the other team's quarterback. And Dallas Turner should be actually concerned with other aspects right now than that. Don't you think? Making a name for himself? This is not the way to do it?
Well, the other thing I would say is waiting until the ball is snapped to jump across the line of scrimmage because he had at least one, if not two.
That's true.
And I thought about even just throwing those in there because those were almost, to me, as annoying. The times where he just jumped into the neutral zone before anything was happening. And I know it happened at least once. I think it happened twice. And I don't know if they accepted the penalties on either occasion, but just the fact that it's a free play because he's up at the top of the screen just going before the snap, it's a penalty. And it just shows you that you're just not locked in. You're not ready. You're not playing. It's just...
Your game is not translating to the
sharp.
Professional level, that's for sure. Did you... Let me see the area code on this one. Do you have a 320 burner phone?
I'd rather not answer that.
This sounds like it's you. Setting aside the cruelty of it, how do you justify putting a player with a torn labrum, dislocation, and fracture on the field multiple weeks in a row? Beyond being inhumane, it's just bad football. How are you supposed to win games when you're playing someone that hurt? We are trying to win, right? That sounds like you saying Brosmer should have played during this stretch earlier. I mean, he's pretending it's about protecting the safety of the player.
Being a good person.
Well, actually, he's not. He's also admitting you are still trying to win the game. Because we had also Gessling. Carson Wentz's injury was a shoulder dislocation that tore his labrum and fractured the socket. The source confirmed surgery was inevitable to repair it so he could continue his career.
Do you think any of these texts or tweets are getting to Kirk Herbstreit? Do you think he feels bad at all? I love Kirk Herbstreit.
I know.
It hurt me to hear Kirk Herbstreit say that.
He made
the guy's dying, Kirk, and now you're reading these things. It's like, it's okay that he's crying.
Now, again, it's not his throwing shoulder, but in football, when you're the quarterback and you're taking the hits you're taking, and he's landing on the shoulder, and they're driving the bad shoulder into the ground, it's a distinction without a difference, and I still... I get, because Leber said, well, the concern maybe was you don't want to get another guy hurt. I don't think you can think that way.
Right.
In all honesty, that's a risk
in
a real world sense. But if you have a guy in that kind of shape and what's now being described, maybe part of the problem is up until now it's been injured shoulder. Then we get to the nitty gritty with the announcement he's having surgery. I don't think it had been previously reported as a torn labrum. Publicly, had it?
I don't think so. We probably would have known that. The brace he was wearing would have suggested that it was something really bad.
Well, and the brace this last week, I think, was more elaborate than the one the previous week. Because I think it was just like a tape that week. Looked like electrical tape around his arm.
Yep.
Then last week, it was like it was a contraption, right? But again, I hope somebody eventually gets to the bottom of... that sort of player abuse, because that's what it comes off as. It really does. It's like, and you could even make the argument that, well, regardless of whether the guy you have behind him is a rookie or not, I mean, he presumably he's healthy enough where maybe you give him a shot. It can't go any worse than it's going right now. You can even make that argument, but I'll say again, I just on a humanity level, just a mercy rule thing. I still need somebody to get to the bottom of how you can possibly justify continuing to play a guy with what, as it turns out, has that many very significant injuries to his shoulder, not even talking about the pain associated with these significant injuries.
And I'm trying to think, he'll meet the media Wednesday, right? KOC?
Yeah.
Those questions have to be asked. Because we were all thinking it. I had people coming up to me at Gray's and saying, why do you think they're keeping him in there? It looks like he's just dead. He can't do anything. He's obviously in pain.
Right.
It brought me back to either 2013 or 2014, the last time the Gophers beat Michigan for the Jug in Ann Arbor, and Brady Hoke was the coach. They had a quarterback who, I can't remember the injury, but it was clear he was incapacitated. It was either concussion or leg. I don't remember specifically, but the Michigan fans were booing Brady Hoke and Michigan because this kid was still in the huddle. Like, he kept going back to the huddle. He couldn't move. He couldn't throw. It was awful.
Yeah.
And all of us are like, this is crazy. The home fans are booing the coach because they're leaving this guy out there essentially to die. And that's what I felt like on Thursday. And now we're getting confirmation of it.
Wasn't the Herb Street quote something like, and he's just got it. He needs to do a better job.
It's week 7 of the NFL. It's week 7. This is where teams are separating.
Of not showing quite as much of that agony that he's living in. That as somebody said, where's the quote? Torn labrum and cracked bone socket? Come on, he's got to suck it up. Yeah, how long are you going to milk it?
It's crazy.
JJ is still hobbling on a little ankle tweak from like 9 months ago.
Yeah, you're right, and hopping around just fine, but apparently not ready to go.
Yeah, it's
what a mess.
Well, again,
it's not even November.
Here's the saving grace, I think. If you're a McBobo, the saving grace is one way or another. Now there's no longer any delay. We're going to see the kid play, and we're probably not. We're going to have to. I mean, it's going to be. Is it not fair to say, as of today, given the schedule, and we laid out the schedule early in the season, why you needed to have a better record after 5 games than 3-2. That given the schedule, the Vikings, for me, are a long shot to make the postseason. That doesn't mean it can't happen. I'm not saying they're dead, but it's a long shot. So you reach a point where maybe then you can calm down and say, now it's going to be easier for the kid to play him, obviously, and to live with the mistakes, and to think that, yeah, all right, it's hard knocks. It's going to be tough, but that's how that's how he becomes Drake May in 2026, right? He plays bad in a few games, makes a few mistakes, but he's out there. He's getting reps. Most importantly for him right now is he's got to stay healthy. Because I don't know if we think there are prop bets on everything. We think there are odds on everything. Are there odds right now? If you went to Vegas or to Bodog or whoever, could you get will there be odds posted on the likelihood of Max Brosmer starting a game for the Vikings this season?
Probably not.
They don't do it that way?
Probably not, but somebody might.
I think you might end up getting your wish.
At this point, I think so. Just because
unless they make the move to pick up Leber's guy from the Giants. Or
bring back Kirk Cousins, who played admirably yesterday.
That didn't go very well yesterday.
No, it didn't.
But then somebody said, and it's true, he's not a shotgun quarterback. And they run almost all their stuff in the shot. Now, it may not have mattered.
Right.
Because I saw their defense didn't look very good. I saw there was a bad fumble. That wasn't his fault. I don't know how. So I didn't watch all of that game. But I don't think he did anything where you're going to go, whoa, somebody's going to want to grab him before the deadline. Do you think? No. I didn't see anything. They got killed.
Right.
Team that killed us got killed at home by Miami.
I know. And the video circulating is Kirk checking into a different play on 4th and 7 and then throwing it short of the sticks.
Oh, is that
when they're getting down? They were down by like 50, but it was just vintage Kirk.
Is that true?
Changing the play, doing all these things, and then still throwing it 2 yards short.
Yeah.
And that's my guy. That's Kirk O'Chains.
We can go to 42, right?
Well, we have Jonny Athletic at 5:30.
Oh, I forgot. That's right. We got Jonny Athletic, so I don't want to. I'm already cutting into his time.
Yes.
We'll make it up to him. We'll definitely make it up to him. We'll get a live report from Target Center on the Anthony Edwards injury situation, the Wolves' start to the season, and where he is regarding his favorite football team, the Minnesota Vikings. It's John Krasinski.
It's time for Jonny Athletic. Jonny Athletic. Jonny Athletic. And he's on the Dan Barrero right now.
RBC Wealth Management, the sponsor of the Jonny Athletic segment. He joins us via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Are you positioned currently in front of the Target Center cage?
I'm not in front of the cage, unfortunately. I'm deep in the bowels of Target Center, where there was a little bit of peace and quiet to communicate. So, but I'm ready for war tonight, for sure.
Larry Mondello guy checks in. This is a carryover from our discussion on this show in the last segment, Johnny, having to do with the uncivilized decision of Kevin O'Connell to keep Carson Wentz in the game the other night. Here's what Larry Mondello guy, here's how he puts it. The way KOC kept Wentz in there despite the beating, you'd have thought Zimmer was still the coach, and his only other option at quarterback was Kellen Mond. Just about captures it, does it not?
It does. I was waiting for someone to ask him post game about, why didn't you go to Brosmer, and he say, yeah, because I've seen him play, or because I've seen him in practice,
yeah.
something like that, and just
see him every day. That's it. Yeah,
that's right. That's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I'll admit I was watching the game and saying, man, you got to get this guy out of here. I mean, he's clearly in an incredible amount of pain. Nothing was working for him. I don't know everything that led into the decision. I'm sure that Wentz was lobbying to stay in the game, but he took a beating, and that was hard to watch for sure.
It was brutal to watch, and now we especially now that we know more of the details, a shoulder dislocation that tore his labrum and fractured the socket. Yeah. I honestly, one of you, and I know you're not covering the team every day, but somebody. Alec Lewis, our guy Seifert will be with us tomorrow, Gessling. Somebody needs to get to the bottom of the mystery of how you keep playing him. I in all seriousness, I thought it was one of the crueler, more inhumane situations I can recall in a while. And it made no sense within the realm of the game was lost. So,
right.
The game's over at that point. So bring in whoever you have to bring in, obviously Guardsy's guy, have him hand off a bunch. And, do a couple of short passes and get on the plane and get the red eye back, from Los Angeles.
Yeah, and I mean, I heard Ben Leber talking, on a segment earlier about, what if Brosmer gets hurt? Then you got to throw McCarthy out there. I just don't think you can plan for someone else getting hurt like that, especially when the guy's in as much pain as he clearly was. I mean, I've certainly covered that league and the NBA a long time, and a lot of, you talk to athletes about just what's the most painful injuries you endure, and a torn labrum like that is incredibly painful, let alone when you're taking, hits to it. Yes. and you're getting tackled and all those things. And so I do think that the right thing was to take him out and put Brosmer in and just, try to get out of there, just give the young kid a little chance to throw it around and see what happens. The game was lost. Nothing was to be gained from it at all, other than maybe trying to honor Carson Wentz's wishes, if that's indeed what was happening. But my gosh, he was pitching a fit on the sideline. I mean, he was you got to save him from himself at that point. Oh, boy.
2 independent sources have confirmed to the Bumper to Bumper program that you, John Athletic, has re-signed with the Athletic, and we are demanding the terms of the new deal. Demanding it.
Well, you're going to have to do some reporting on that. You are a dogged investigator, and so I'll leave it up to you to find the terms. But I can confirm, yes, that I have re-signed a multi-year deal, and very thankful for the Athletic and for all the support that I've had, and certainly on this show as well to help raise the profile and keep me relevant. And so, but really excited about being here. We've been here through it all these last 8 years, building this thing up with Russo and Alec and Dan and Aaron and everyone and Joe. And so love it here and just happy to keep going.
That's good. Yeah, that's good news. Congratulations.
Ooh, boy, this is a big package.
That's it. We're going to find out what the package is sooner or later. We are going to get to the bottom of the size of the package. That's all I'm going to say.
All I want to know is, do you finally have enough juice to get us a hat or something?
Oh, not yet.
Like one hat, one
more
T-shirt,
contract. The one
third hoodie,
contract.
one promo code.
I used all of my juice and leverage to just get this deal done. Yeah. So I think the equity is gone now.
Okay.
So,
you say so.
I don't know if they're going to be able to help you out there.
I want to get to some Wolves stuff, but because there's obviously injury news there too. But 612 guy raises a point that I briefly discussed. Was it Friday or Sunday? I don't know which. I'm gobsmacked by it, but I'll run it by you and see if you think this person might be onto something, because this is, I think, a theory that's has great momentum on Gopher Hole. Dan, no idea if Brosmer's any good, but it's clear there are egos here, Kwesi, KOC, JJ, in play that mean that he will not play. How else do you explain playing Wentz when injured and so inept? Wentz is no threat to JJ, but Brosmer possibly being more successful must be a huge threat to the triumvirate. Now, I find that preposterous, but there are Gopher Rubes, maybe Guardsy among them, who actually believe that was the main reason KOC was afraid to put Brosmer out there. Your thoughts?
So this is like maybe the Brock Purdy situation in San Francisco with Trey Lance, or like the Cousins and Griffith RG3 thing. So it wouldn't be the first time, is what I would say. It would not be the first time that something like that may have come into play. I do not believe that is the case. I certainly can't say that with any 100% certainty, but I know that they love J.J. McCarthy, that they want to give him the chance and all those things. I don't think that they're afraid that Brosmer would come in and upstage him, and then you'd have a real quarterback controversy on your hands. But at this point, Dan, with the way things are going, you need something good to happen here. So I would argue that would be a good problem to have if indeed that did happen and Brosmer came in and just lit the thing up.
There you go. All right. Earlier in the program, first segment, I laid out, just how horrific and pathetic the sports weekend has been, extended weekend going back to Thursday night. That involves, obviously, the Vikings. It involves Gopher football. It involved the Wolves, I guess, until they at least won in unconvincing fashion last night against the Pacers. It includes the Wild. It includes Golden Gopher men's hockey. You kind of go down the list, right? It's endless at this point how cataclysmic the last several days have been. But on the morose meter, which of those teams worry you the most in terms of a lack of recovery opportunity? Is there a team, and probably because I know you love hockey, maybe leave Gopher hockey out of it. Yeah. If you eliminate them on the morose meter, which team do you think we should be most worried about? It perhaps in having not all that much ability to bounce back in a major way.
Yeah, I'm actually probably most worried about the Vikings, Dan, because the Wild, it seems like every year have some sort of swoon at some point, either beginning, middle of the season, and you're like, these guys can't win a game ever. And then they find their way to some big surge, and they at least get to the playoffs. They don't win in the playoffs, but at least they get there, and they have a decent year. And so you look at that, the Wolves, I think, will be fine. The Edwards injury is difficult, but they have pedigree, and I believe that they're going to be okay over the long haul. The Vikings right now, you're trying to look at what do they have going for them. And there's not a whole lot. The defense has been woefully underwhelming. You have all these injuries on the offensive line. The Darisaw thing is weird. You don't know what you're going to get at the quarterback spot. Basically, all you have is Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And if they don't have a quarterback to throw to them or an offensive line to protect long enough for them to get routes down the field, it's just going to be really difficult. And so of all of the teams, they are the ones that look like they have the most issues that are going to be harder for them to solve within the season at this point. And that's a surprise to me, Dan, because I just did not see it unfolding the way that it has, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That's been incredibly disappointing.
Anthony Edwards, we're talking a muscle pull, 2 weeks, maybe longer. Is it the kind where this is one of those issues where it could linger a little bit? What do we think?
Yeah, you never know with hamstring, soft tissue, stuff like this. From what I've been told and people I've talked to, around Anthony, around the team, there doesn't seem to be a lot of concern that this is an extended absence. He's going to be reevaluated in a week. Everyone that I've talked to thinks about 2 weeks is what he'll miss. So 8 games, that's, it's a good chunk of time, but, certainly there are times where you have a hamstring that keeps you out a month or longer. And, as of right now, there does not seem to be that concern. I think that was one of the reasons that they pulled him early from the game and just didn't take any chances with it. I think it's, basically a grade 1 of the more on the milder side of things. And so there's real optimism that, in a couple weeks he'll be back and good to go. But, we'll see, just because this is the first time he's had one of these kind of soft tissue injuries. So he's a really fast healer, but we'll see how his body responds to that versus, a back or an ankle or a knee thing like he's had in the past that's usually only kept him out a game or something like that.
So how does this change the lineup starting tonight?
Yeah, we'll find out from Chris Finch a little bit later about what exactly he plans to do, but I do think that it obviously puts a lot of pressure on the team, especially in a game against the Nuggets. You know, the Wolves had so much success against Denver over the last several years, and most of it is because the Nuggets just can't guard Anthony Edwards. There's just no one on that team that is equipped to do it, and now you take him out, and it really does kind of change the dynamics entirely. So I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Julius Randle, which we saw last night against the Pacers, and he played really well. But I also think you're going to need to see more from Terrence Shannon Jr. as kind of another wing scorer, aggressive, going, looking for his own shot, creating things for himself. I think that's going to be something that you mix in more than what we've seen the first couple of games. And then, you may see more Bones Highland. Rob Dillingham is available tonight, but Chris Finch really seems to like Bones more than he does Rob Dillingham at this point. And so we'll see if that kind of energizes the offense a little bit, because they do like what he's shown from a spark plug type of a role. And I think they're going to probably give him a few more shots, a few more opportunities, but it's going to have to be by committee. No one's going to replace Anthony Edwards on their own, but they have a couple of guys that are going to, get a chance, now that 37 minutes and 20 shots are freed up on a nightly basis here.
Joker, I was talking about this with Guardsy earlier, and then he had to rudely interrupt me because of the breaking Carson Wentz news regarding the fact that he's having season-ending surgery, maybe career-ending, who knows. Joker has 166 regular season triple-doubles. That's, I think, third behind your guy, Westbrook, and Oscar Robertson. So
pretty good company.
That's pretty good company, and I don't think he's close to retiring. I got to believe he's gonna pass them both by next season, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really think, he is barreling toward, if he isn't already there, Dan, he's a top 10 player of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what he's done. He's won a championship. He's won 3 MVPs. Every single night, he is an absolute nightmare to deal with. He's not as bad defensively as people try to make him out to be. And he's been fine there, but just like from a pure basketball aesthetic standpoint, there's no greater show than watching Nikola Jokic just, throw passes over his head to someone who was covered in the corner that no one saw coming except for him. He makes every shot that he takes from three. He's incredibly efficient. He's just a wide body, and he lumbers up and down the court, but he's always in the right spots. He legitimately is, we're watching everyone that's here tonight. We'll see. I believe when it's all said and done, he's going to be a top 10 player of all time. If he's not there already, he's that amazing.
Not crazy at all. I like this. I think Denver did improve the players around him. What stands out to you? Do you agree they're better, and where specifically do you think it's most likely to show up?
Yeah, they're better in the two areas that they really needed to get better. One is there is a little bit more shooting around him. Cam Johnson's a little more reliable. Michael Porter Jr., the guy he replaced, was really streaky. And so Johnson is just a steadier presence there, both as a shooter and then as a defender. And so I think his discipline and his precision are a big upgrade over Michael Porter Jr. And then they're also deeper. They have Jonas Valanciunas coming off the bench as a nice stopgap center for Jokic, so that the thing just does not fall off a cliff when he comes out of a game, and he doesn't have to play 42 minutes a night in the regular season. Michael Malone essentially got fired in part because he would not play his bench guys, partly because they weren't very good.
No.
And you get Valanciunas, you get Bruce Brown in there. Christian Brown's becoming a nice player, so they're just a little bit more well-rounded around Joker, and Jamal Murray's playing better now than he has in the last couple of years. We'll see how that holds up, but he's another guy who really was subpar for the last couple of years, and now is kind of resuming that kind of playmaker, big shot taker type of a player that he was in their championship run. And those are all major factors for why Denver is rightfully positioned as, probably the biggest challenger to Oklahoma City right now, at least in the betting odds and all of those things. And I think that's fair right now because they're just really good.
Tim Hardaway, don't they have Tim Hardaway Jr. as well?
Yep. Yep, Hardaway's another one. Another
that's at
just
least
scorer
a
off
piece.
the bench
Yeah.
to give them some offense so that, when Joker has to sit, that things just do not completely collapse on them, which is what was happening the last essentially 2 years.
Is it too early to conclude that the whole point guard, dilemma with this team is going to be a work in progress for a long time, that this is not going to be resolved overnight wherever it ends up, that it's likely to be the head coach experimenting and trying a lot of different things? What do you make of it to this point?
Yeah, it hasn't been good so far, just to be frank, Dan. Mike Conley does not look very good right now. Now, he looked the same last year at this time and found his form, so we'll see how that goes, how he progresses, but he's looked slow, and he's turning the ball over, which he never does, and he's not playing as well defensively, and that's a problem. Dante DiVincenzo has turned the ball over a lot, as the guard right next to Anthony Edwards. It's to the point where Finch has not been able to trust Rob Dillingham, so you don't even play him, and you play him Bones Highland, who's been okay,
right,
but certainly not what you want in that spot. And so I am really going to be interested over these next 2 weeks, Dan, without Ant in there, how they go about it, because I really thought that the pathway to success with this roster was to have it be Edwards and DiVincenzo and just have Edwards really control a lot of the playmaking and have the ball in his hands a lot. And it worked in Portland. And I think that was going to be the way. And Chris Finch was just going to have to settle into something that he's not really a huge fan of doing just because of the roster. But now without Ant, they're going to be forced to do things a whole different way. And so I would like to see Rob Dillingham get some run. I would like to see, some kind of opportunities there for him and just see what he has. Maybe he's not ready at all, but they're going to need some more production and much fewer turnovers from the group that is handling the ball than we've seen in these first 3 games so far. It's been really ugly in that respect.
Is Jonny Athletic more excited about the return of the trees or the premiere of the so-called theater lighting at Target Center?
Dan, I've been anticipating this all day, how you would respond to it. And I just kind of pictured in my head, you say, hey, we're happy for you. Can you just play some defense instead? Honest to God, enough about the lights. But it's trivial. It's all that. I will say the lights are cool. You walk into the building and that's the first thing that you notice. It makes it feel like an event. They spent some money on it. It was the new ownership idea. I was wondering how it would look, but the players absolutely love it. And I've seen the tree uniforms before. They're really nice. I like them. The lighting is brand new at Target Center, and it does change the vibe in the building pretty significantly, in my opinion. So I really liked it. I thought it was really effective, and I'm glad it's going to be that way going forward. Because it just makes a mundane game on a Wednesday night or whatever. It turns it into something a little bit different, and it's pretty cool.
Well, the place I most closely associate with that look was the old Forum in Inglewood in L.A. Yeah. The Lakers did it forever, and I thought it was a very effective style. I think the Knicks perhaps do something similar. Yep. What's weird is, and I wasn't there, but when I watched on TV, I thought it looked more light up into the stands than I remembered it in L.A. or New York. Now, maybe that was an illusion, or maybe you have to have certain lighting because you have to have the court lit. So I thought I had expected on TV for it to be more obvious, the theater part, but you definitely notice it when you're in the building?
Yeah, you feel it in the building. And you're right. I think there were some people, as I heard, the plans unfolding that were like, hey, are we going to be able to see the steps as we walk up them to find our seats and stuff? Is it going to be that dark? No, it's not that dark. But the muted lighting around the stands, and then it just makes it feel like the court is center stage and there's a spotlight on it. Exactly. And it really does pop off of there. And so it looks and feels different, you'll just have to make the trip down. Maybe tonight, Dan. It's 8:30 game. You got plenty of time. Come on down.
That's right. Late game.
Have a wine cooler.
Yeah, that's it.
See the rivalry.
That might be the answer.
So,
all right. Well, we'll see.
Just soak it up. We'll get a spot for you here.
So we don't know yet who's starting tonight. Finchie has not revealed.
No, he has not, and it will be interesting to me, Dan, because he loves Mike Conley. He wants, he in times of trial, he leans on him. So would it be Conley with DiVincenzo, or do you go Bones? Just for a little bit more juice and energy, or is it Terrence Shannon Jr.? A little more size. He has several different ways to go.
Is Dilly available? He is
available tonight.
Yeah, he is available tonight.
Yes.
I'm kind of with you, but I don't think that's the way Finchie thinks. He's a big believer, I guess, and you got to earn the minutes, and he may not be happy with them. I almost think that it's never a blessing to lose Anthony Edwards. There's almost a part of me that says, well, now you got an opening that you didn't just throw him out there. Throw him out there for 25 minutes and don't lose your mind if he commits 3 turnovers. Almost a little bit like JJ, let him play through some stuff. Maybe I'm expecting and hoping for too much because the team's got a season and expectations to worry about. But to me, this is almost like a bonus opportunity to throw that into the mix simply because of the Edwards injury, where you say, you know what, screw it, let's just throw him out there.
Yeah, I agree, Dan, because especially right now you can say, let's be honest, do we expect the Timberwolves to beat the Denver Nuggets tonight on the second night of a back-to-back with no Anthony Edwards? No. So you don't have necessarily the same pressure to try to win that you do otherwise, and that may contribute to the decision to keep Dillingham out of the rotation. Throw him out there. Maybe he gets hot. Maybe he makes a couple of shots, and he can pass the ball all right, and maybe just energizes everything. Or maybe it goes really poorly, but at least you give him a chance, and at least you just let give him something to chew on a little bit going forward. And maybe you say, maybe he really struggles, and you can say, hey, look, this is what we're dealing with, and this is one of the reasons he's not playing. But you at least get some evidence out there on the court. I think it would be helpful for sure.
Johnny, we appreciate it. Have fun tonight, and don't trip on the stairs, because where the media sits, it's probably also pretty dark there, too. It looked
dark. I couldn't even see those guys last night.
You got to be careful.
It is a little dark. I got this trusty flashlight on my phone, which will get me where I need to go. So
did you ever cover?
I'm going to be treading lightly.
Did you ever cover a game at the Forum?
I never did. No, it was Staples.
Okay, so
by the time I got around,
what was interesting there was, back in those days, they had the media in pretty good seats. It was up a little higher, but it was lower level, but up a number of stairs, and it was dark. And to the point where then at each spot in the rows of media seats, you had these almost little old-fashioned, desk lamp lights from out of the 1930s. And so even there, it looked, they made an effort to, we still want the dark look. It was a very noirish kind of a look. But I do remember tripping 1 or 2 times on the stairs going up, man, because they were serious about keeping it pretty dark. They did not worry about lawsuits back in those days, apparently.
No, Jerry Buss would just bury you out in the desert, right?
True.
If you needed it. But man, I would have tripped over everything to get there and see and watch those games with Showtime Lakers.
They were fun.
And,
There's no question
in that
about
building, going crazy, man. What an experience.
Thanks as always. We appreciate the time. Congratulations on the contract extension, and we'll talk next week.
Great. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Jonny Athletic with big news. His second, I think, maybe third contract with the Athletic. It's long-term. You know what I forgot? Guardsy. Ask him what his buyout is. Do we know what is on his new contract, what the buyout might be? Because, again, maybe another media outlet comes along and says, we want to buy his butt out. How costly will it be to buy him out? That's the question.
He says a little less than Brian Kelly.
Not a lot less.
But not much.
A little less.
A little less.
Top of the hour pause. Back in just a minute.
This football season, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com, keyword contest to learn more and enter KFAN.com, keyword contest.
Clayton writes that the guy Johnny ran out of town had a single-double last night. Luka Garza, 2 points, 2 boards, and 1 assist. Is he playing much for the Celtics?
I have not watched
that
him
would
one
indicate
time.
Maybe not so much.
Not sure.
I think they're winless early. Again, I think they've only played maybe 2 games, maybe perhaps
the coaches routed the media in a scrimmage like 2 weeks ago.
Did
that
you
was
see
highly
that?
publicized. Oh, yeah.
What was the final score, like 58-2?
Yeah.
Literally.
I think it was 57-4.
Oh, it was 57-4. I thought they only scored 1 basket. Maybe
Either way.
Whatever it was a rout. They apparently wanted to make their point, and they did.
I'm not sure what the point of that is.
And that was without, I don't even think Scalabrine participated in it.
Cassell didn't either.
Is that right?
Cassell's part of that staff.
Is it because he was bored with it, or because he just wasn't interested? Or
I think he's still nursing his Western Conference Finals injury from 2004.
So if I can, I guess, distill the fear and loathing, the morose meter, regarding which teams who have had just miserable extended weekends we should be most concerned about moving forward as being perhaps incapable of getting out of the morass of their morosity. There seems to be a growing sentiment that the Vikings might be that team. And I mean, I think the assumption is you look at the Gopher football schedule and you say, well, they're going to win. I mean, they got some inviting games ahead. Is the Wisconsin game here or there?
It's here.
It's here. Does anybody know why Wisconsin seemed to play Oregon tough for a half?
They have a good defense.
Okay.
Their defense
they just
has
can't score.
Tried their best all season long. I've watched a lot of them, and they have hung around a long time against a lot of different teams. They just can't do anything offensively. They've been in and out of quarterback issues, injuries. They just can't do anything on offense.
All right, so you look at the Gopher schedule the rest of the way. You know it well. It's we're hosting Michigan State Saturday at 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got to go to Oregon after a bye, right? And that's not going to be easy. But then you have 2 more certainly winnable games afterwards. You're at Northwestern. Northwestern's plucky. That's not an automatic win.
They hung with Nebraska and Lincoln this past Saturday. They've won 3 in a row.
It's winnable. That's at Wrigley. And then you're hosting Wisconsin. So I think on the basis of the schedule alone, as disappointing as the no-show was at Iowa City, you go, well, you're not going to fall off the end of a table. You're going to probably end up with the requisite. You have a chance to still end up with 8 victories. Then, comparatively speaking, you look, and it's really, in the case of the Wolves, it's way too early to go into too much of a panic mode, even if it's not helpful that Anthony Edwards is out for a couple of weeks and the defense does not look all that committed, at least thus far. Case of the Wild might be a little more concerning because they've played more games. They just came off a 5-game road trip in which they garnered 3 points out of a possible 10. How many games have we put in this homestand since we got back? 2 or 3?
I think that's right.
And we got a point. We lost 1 game. We got 1 point out of a possible 4 so far there, right? So it ain't looking good. And we already have a captain's meeting with Bill Guerin.
Yeah.
Which is a little scary.
Couple of phone calls. One-on-ones with the head coach and some other players.
Presumably we're going to get healthier there. Then in the case of the Vikings, I think it's, what has happened the last 2 weeks? We've gotten throttled by 2 legitimate teams in a row, right? Philly. Now, we only lost by 6, but it was a home game, and Philly seemed to be in control. And then we go to L.A., and we get just destroyed by, I think, a Jim Harbaugh who definitely liked what he did in this game.
For sure.
To knock off the team he might have coached, the Vikings, by 27. And then you say, well, what do we got coming up? Well, we got at Detroit this coming Sunday. At Detroit, I'm not going to say you can't win, but that's going to be a challenge. Then you've got Baltimore here, and by then it's very likely that their number 1 quarterback will be back, right? Then you do have the Bears here, but then you got to go to Green Bay and Seattle back-to-back after that. So I think for some people, the morose meter is higher for the Vikings, A, because it did look like a total systems failure against the Chargers, where you have a feeling that either our defensive personnel isn't up to snuff or maybe there are offensive coaches and quarterbacks, at least the good ones, who've kind of figured out how to handle the B-flow madness and insanity, and everything looks like it's disguised and you don't know what's coming, etc. It's that. You're now asking a rookie, second-year quarterback who might as well be a rookie, who's played as little as he has. You're throwing him into the middle of the mix at a point where you still have an unsettled offensive line, right? That's still unsettled.
Yep.
And you have a schedule where you say, look at the teams. Again, now Baltimore's record's not very good, but I think most people still view them as dangerous if Lamar Jackson is playing, correct? At the least.
They should, yeah.
And then you've got maybe the Bears are, a relatively easy one on the 16th of November, but then you got the 2-game road trip, Green Bay and Seattle. So let's play this out. We're not favored against the Lions.
No.
So if we lose that game, we're what, 3-5?
Yep.
Baltimore, will we be favored?
Probably not.
We might be. No, you know what? We weren't originally. You're right, but I don't know.
And especially if we lose this week and we're coming home and JJ doesn't play well and Lamar's back, I would think the Ravens would be favored.
I'm gonna give us that game. So let's say we split the next two, then we're at 4-5, right? Mm-hmm. We beat the Bears 5-5. Then at Green Bay, loss at Seattle. We're sitting 12 games in at 5-7.
Yeah.
And that's where you start going, well, where is this really? You're out of the division race probably already, but then you start looking at the teams stacking up just in the conference, and you go, well, where are we going with this thing? Now, you've got Washington here, then you're at Dallas, then you're at New York Giants, although even the Giants I don't think are as awful. It looks like they got a quarterback who might, give them a little juice at least. And then you finish with home games against Detroit and Green Bay. So I did mention on Sunday.
We should break soon, by the way.
Oh, good point. The quarterback, you can argue, even if you have other problems and it's a total system failure, that is the one position where if you get something captured, something positive going, where you go, whoa, we're seeing what they like about this guy, you can suddenly feel like everything else looks better too, right? It is a position of high influence. But is that even fair to that player, and is that asking for too much?
Show Wrap is brought to you by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper-to-bumper Show Wrap.
The sun is setting over Hurricane Melissa with winds of 175 miles per hour. It turns north and moves over Jamaica tomorrow. Catastrophic, life-threatening flash flooding and numerous landslides are expected tomorrow. The eye wall's destructive winds may cause total structural failure, particularly in higher elevations, leading to widespread infrastructural damage, prolonged power and communication outages, and isolated communities. That's from your weather guy, James Spann, who is AMS certified, is online a lot. That one they're watching very closely. It looks like it is indeed
going to be messy.
A very messy situation. So we hope the folks in Jamaica are able to deal with that. I'm already seeing some stuff on the fringes there indicating that it could be a fairly rough ride. I want to thank our special guest today. That includes Adam Thielen at 3:30, Ben Leber at 4:47, and Jonny Athletic at about 5:35 or so. Vikings Rewind is going to follow us tonight, and then it is Wolves basketball. Second night of a back-to-back. Man, it's awfully early in the season for me to buy that as an excuse if you lose. More likely, we're not at full strength. I think the Nuggets are.
Pretty much, yeah.
They are they have better pieces around one of the best players in basketball, if not the best player in basketball, in Joker. So it will not be easy tonight. I will be curious to see what his, the rotations are by Chris Finch, our guy Finchy. So
Buzzkill of the week, though, if you had tickets when the schedule came out.
Yeah, for sure.
First of all, the 8:30s are tough. We know why they happen. TV, right?
Tonight's
on Peacock.
I mean the Lakers, too, with LeBron and Luka out.
Exactly.
Skinny Luka.
And now Ant's out.
And Ant's out, too. Yeah, you're right.
For that game, that's not what you signed up for.
No. What we did sign up for, or will sign up for, is Louis scheduled to join us tomorrow.
I think he's in studio again.
Oh, is that right?
I think so,
excellent.
Yeah.
And Kevin Seifert will join, I hope, in studio, but there'll be plenty of good Vikings fodder to get to, including the fallout to the Carson Wentz news. Apparently now official, surgery, and of course he is shut down for the rest of the 2025 season. Still want to find out if we're going to go out and get another veteran quarterback. And could it be Russell Wilson? He's available.
Yeah.
Giants are bored with him at this point.
No truth to the rumor that when KOC found out about the surgery, he said, but he can play Sunday, right? We didn't hear that?
Yeah. Is Brosmer officially the backup or not?
He was on Thursday.
Okay, yeah, but now it's for real. Now things are about to get real.
Don't let him see the field, man.
That's it. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. And enjoy Wolves action tonight after a quick look at what we like to call Vikings Rewind. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3.